What's up, everybody? My name is Pi. Welcome to SLR Lounge, where we're here to help you be a better photographer. Now, this is part 3 or video 3 in kind of this ginormous smoke series that we're doing. And in this video, we're going to be creating a fine art kind of look to these smoke textures that you can use to create canvases and create wall murals and anything you might want to do for your fine art needs. And these are some of my favorite photographs to take and to post-produce because they look really cool and they're really fun. Remember that if you want to learn how to photograph smoke textures, then be sure to check out video 1 in this series. And if you want to learn how to prepare a smoke texture for later use in compositing, check out video number 2. This is video number 3. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I am working inside a Lightroom, and I was just at lights out mode a second ago. These are the 3 images or the 3 textures we're going to be creating, and we're going to be doing it from this little source image here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and delete these now, just so we don't have a million duplicates of this one image. And then let's go ahead and create a virtual copy of this image, and I'm going to reset it out and hit D to jump into the developed view. Now, right now my highlight alert is turned on, and that's why the screen looks all freakied out. But I'm going to hit J just to turn that off for one moment. This is the smoke texture that we have. This is the raw file, completely unedited. You can see that it was shot at 1/160th of a second at f7.1 at ISO 100. Remember, if you want to learn the lighting, you want to learn how to shoot and all that kind of stuff, check out video number 1. But the thing with this is that you'll notice that there's a lot of wasted space in this shot. And you might be wondering, well, why? When we're shooting smoke textures, smoke as a subject is extremely unpredictable, and you'll know that when you start shooting it. It's one of the things we talk about when we discussed how to shoot smoke. Generally, we have to have a larger frame for the area that we're shooting because we don't necessarily know when the smoke is going to ripple. We don't know exactly where it's going to travel. We don't know any of those things. So we need to shoot a little bit larger, a little bit zoomed out, just so that we have a little bit more room in the frame for the smoke to kind of do its thing. This means that to get a really nice look, you're going to be better off, especially when we're going to be doing extreme cropping in just a moment, shooting at high resolution, okay? And I mean, the 5D Mark III is great. It's 24 megapixels. We're shooting in full RAW, but if you can go beyond that, like an A7R, 36 megapixels or something like that, or whatever. If you can get close to 40 megapixels, if you can get even higher, that's even better. So a D800, an A7R, those kind of cameras that have extreme resolution will create much more detailed images once you start cropping in. Why don't we just zoom in? Well, it's impossible to kind of, if you're zoomed in really tight and we only see like this portion of the frame, for example, you have no idea where the smoke is going to be doing what it's going to be doing, and you're going to miss it most of the time. So that is why. All right, I'm all for getting it right in camera, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. In this case, we got to do what we got to do. I'm going to hit R, and let's go ahead and take this over to 1:1. We're going to just change our crop. With fine art type stuff like this, I love going with square crops because it looks really cool in little canvases. And what I want to do is create a little triptych. Okay, we're going to create a little triptych, each one of these smoke pieces having a different color like we showed you earlier. So I'm just going to zoom in on this. I'm just holding down Shift while I basically drag the edge to constrain proportions on this. And I think it might be locked right now anyway. Yeah, it is locked right now. If it's unlocked, then you need to hold down Shift. If it is locked, then you're okay. Okay, so right there is about right. I just want to have this kind of trailing from the bottom right of the frame and going up into the left. Now what we're going to do is just brighten this up a little bit. I'm going to take it up maybe to 0.5. Okay, and then what we'll do is I'm going to adjust my highlights, and I'm going to turn the clipping alert actually on right now by hitting J, because I want to see what my highlights and what my whites and shadows and everything is doing. Now I do want some pure whites in this image, okay, so I'm going to brighten it up a little bit, and I have a little bit of highlights being blown out right here, and that's okay. I want a little bit of that pure white. I want it to have a nice bit of contrast, and I also want to have a nice deep dark black. So I want to take this down. We're going to go down to, say, probably around -30. And let's just see, if we zoom in, we don't really see too many black flecks anywhere. But what I might do is I'll just do a quick paint job on that. And then kind of like a car, except you don't want a quick paint job on a car. You want a paint job that takes a while because that means it's quality. Okay, let's see if we want this little bit at the, I don't think I want that over here on the left side, so I might paint that out too. Let's do that right now. Let's grab a brush. We are on a Burn++ preset. This is from the preset system. Again, if you don't have it, just hit pause, dial it in. All this is going to do is completely black out this area. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it over this side, just in this area that I don't want things. And by the way, this is a good time to remind you all to clean your monitors, because my monitor is very not clean right now. So I keep seeing things that I think are part of the image, but it's not. It's actually just like junk on my monitor. So, clean your monitors, people. Clean them well. All right, I'm just going to drag this down, and I'm going to hit O, so now I can see where my lines are. I'm just going to paint out the rest of the area. So basically all this is going to do is really just prevent any of those dust dots. Like if I'm taking this to print, any dot that's not pure black in this area is actually going to be quite visible. So I don't want that to be visible. So I'm just painting it in so it's basically completely pure black, and so we don't see it. Okay. If you have a little bit of overlap on the smoke, it's kind of okay at certain points. Remember that if you do have a little bit of overlap, it's okay only because we're feathering at 100%. But generally, I do like to just kind of paint back through and just make sure that, you know, we didn't cover any important areas of the actual texture itself. Like right there, kind of like right here. And sometimes I'll just increase the size of the brush so that way it's not like we get kind of a more gradual feather effect in those areas. Okay. That's looking good. Let's hit J. Let's hit O to turn off our overlay, and then let's hit J just to see that clipping mask in place and see exactly what's gone. So if I zoom into this area now, there should be no detail over there. Okay, now check this out. I'm going to click J just to turn that off, and we're going to close down our brush. And let's hit I just to bring up our information. For this file now, we've cropped down from 5,000 something pixels down to less than 2,000 on each side. Now this is still plenty of pixels, especially if we're taking this to say a canvas print or something like that where it's not going to be super high resolution anyway. It's still enough pixels, but you can see exactly what I mean. I mean, we cropped away like 80% of the photo. So the higher the resolution of the original source file, the closer you are able to get to where that detail is, and the less cropping required, the better the file is going to be and the better result you're going to get. You'll notice right now that if we zoom in, well, if we zoom in to 3:1, you'll start to see like we have a lot of kind of unsmooth detail rather in this area. So we want to kind of fix that. So let me show you the trick here. Let's first go ahead and I'm going to adjust clarity. Clarity, remember, is mid-tone contrast. So I'm going to add just a bit of mid-tone contrast to this just to make it pop a little bit. And then what we're going to do is go down to our detail. In detail, check this out. We're going to zoom in, and I only need to go to 1:1. Let's zoom in, and then basically what we're going to do is take noise reduction. And this is the first time and probably one of the last times you'll ever see me doing this, but we're going to go all the way up to 100 on noise reduction. It's not the first or last time. Generally when I'm working with stuff like this, if I want something to have a silky smooth appearance, like almost like a painted appearance, I'm going to take the noise reduction all the way up, and it does that. The one thing we want to do also is bring up the color noise reduction, because you're going to see little color artifacts in the noise if we don't bring up the color noise reduction as well. But you can see now we have a very nice smooth look to the smoke, and if I want to, I can also do a little bit of sharpening. Here's the thing though, if we sharpen while we have a noise reduction layer kind of there, we're not going to get that great of a look to it. So what I'd recommend is leaving it here and then doing, if you want to do a little bit of additional sharpening, do it inside of Photoshop, do it somewhere else where it's kind of not combined with that noise reduction in one place. So basically you want to export it and then do noise reduction. Okay, so this is starting to look pretty nice. Our smoke is nice and silky smooth. And I think that's basically about it for what I want to do for the basic processing. So all we did was we adjusted our base tones, we got the contrast to really pop. If we want to, we can add a contrast curve as well. But here's what I want to do. I'm going to go to the curves and we're going to start creating variants on this. Now let's go ahead and say that we can have so many different ways that we can do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine a colored curve as well as one of the split toning to get the different looks. Again, if you don't have the presets, just hit pause. I'm going to show you each one of these little curves and you can dial it in there. All right, so what we're going to do here is you can, by the way, adjust certain things using temperature and tint to get certain looks too, but we'll get more flexibility by using curves and by using our split toning. And by the way, if I were to produce this to fit, or basically to go straight to my wall, what I'd probably do before I do any of this is take this into Photoshop, and I would smooth out by liquefying this little line right here just to create a nice even line where the smoke enters the frame. But we're not going to do that. And liquefying is really simple. I'm assuming that most of you guys know how to do that. So let's create our first look. We're going to go with something simple. I'm kind of nerdy and geeky, and I like RGB, red, green, blue. We're going to create a red, green, blue smoke to match RGB. So let's start with the red. So all I'm going to do is go into my curves, and let's go down into the warming curves right here. And we're going to select a crimson neutral punch. Okay, so that's going to add a little bit of a contrast kick to it, and also it's adding our color toning there. Now, what I might do is just reduce a little bit of, I can choose two things. The contrast looks really nice right now. The only thing is I don't want to clip too much of my black. So I can take a look and just see if too much black is being clipped. If not, I can bring up my, or if it is, I can bring up my shadows a little bit. If not, then I'll just leave it, where it's at. And I'm okay actually with it with this kind of higher contrast look. So we'll just leave it right there. Next, I'm going to go down to color schemes in the SFX, and we can choose here from a whole variety of things. Red orange is going to create a nice little red orange look. Red violet might look cool too. Or red on red would be pretty sweet. I think I like that. Probably the red. I think I like the red orange the best, or maybe even red red. Yeah, red is cool too. Let's go red orange. I think it creates a little bit more of a dynamic look, having a little bit more of the reds in the highlights and a little bit more of the oranges in the shadows. And I might even flip that actually. So I wonder if, let's see, we have orange blue, but that gets a little bit too much. We have red violet. We have orange, that might be cool too. Let's just stick with orange red. Okay. Oh, actually, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Is we have red orange here, and then we have orange red here, and I think I wanted to do orange red. So we have orange in the highlights and red in the shadows. Now, if you want to make any adjustments here, just go down to split toning, and you can see those adjustments. If you want to add more toning into the highlights, you can do that just by boosting saturation. More toning into the shadows, you can do that by just boosting the saturation. By the way, with the curve, take a look at this. This is a standard S curve that we have. It's a 6-point curve with a point at the top and the bottom, and then 4 points in between that just adjust the highlights up a little bit and the shadows down a bit. If you don't have the presets, click pause on each of these. You can dial these in, okay? So this is just where we're bumping our reds, so that's where we're getting a little bit of that red toning. We're keeping greens about right on the neutral point right there, and then we're dropping the blues a little bit, okay? So this is where we're revealing the reds in the curves. And then you saw already with split tones. All right, so this is great. I have my red versions. Let's go and create our green version. I'm gonna create a virtual copy by hitting Control apostrophe or Command apostrophe if you are on a Mac. Now let's go up to cool curves. We're going to choose a green, so we're going to go with a teal neutral punch, which all it's going to do is keep that same contrast curve, but add in teal. So if we look at the curve, this is what's happening. Now in the reds, it's boosting a tiny bit of reds in the highlights, dropping in the shadows. We're boosting greens throughout the curve just a bit, and we're pulling down the blues. Actually, the blues are pretty much neutral up in the high point, and we're raising them up a little bit in the shadows. And now I'm going to add a SFX color scheme to kind of match that. So what I'll probably do down here is let's go with like a yellow green, and that looks pretty dang cool. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try green yellow and see if I have a preference one or the other. I think I like having the lighter tone in the highlight and then the kind of deeper tone in the shadows. I might just take the saturation up in the shadows just a little bit, just my one click. That's perfect. We have our green. Let's go and hit Control apostrophe again, or Command apostrophe if you're on a Mac. Create another virtual copy, and this is our blue. So now we're going to go back to the cool curves because blue is a cool tone color. We're going to choose the neutral punch again. This is the blue one. Look at the channels. Red is being dropped in the shadows, and it's about neutral in the highlights. Green, dropped in the shadows and neutral in the highlights. Blue, we have it pulled up throughout, and it's kind of pulled up higher in the shadows than it is in the highlights, but it's still pulled up a little bit in the highlights. Then I'm going to go down to my SFX, and we're going to add again. Let's go with, let's try a couple different ones. So I'm going to go blue violet is, I think, going to be really cool with this. Oh yeah, blue violet's awesome. Let's see, blue violet. We have yellow. We have orange blue. That kind of creates a cool look too, because it gives me a little bit of orange in the highlights. I dig that blue violet though. I think the blue violet's where I want it to be. And we can also try blue on blue. Blue on blue is actually really cool too. Blue violet, blue on blue. I think I'm gonna go blue blue. So again, this is the really powerful thing about having the preset system, is you can see how many different colors and looks we can try out just in a very short period of time. Like, we're just clicking, and these are adjustments that if we were to do manually, each one of them would take us 20-30 seconds. We just simply click and it's already ready to go. I'm gonna stop selling you. I feel like a salesperson right now. All right, well, let's go ahead and select these three. We have our red, green, blue. Awesomeness. This looked even better than the preview one that I showed you guys. All right, so here is our final fine art textures for creating awesome fine art smoke textures for this video. Hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, well, please be sure to like it. Subscribe to the SLR Lounge YouTube channel. Share our videos with other people. Share our website. Help us to keep on doing what we love to do, which is to make you a better photographer. If you are interested in learning more about the smoke pack as well, be sure to check that out on SLR Lounge. 400 amazing smoke textures, all prepped, ready to go, full resolution, ready to drop into your images and use for compositing. My name is Pi, and I'll see you all in the next video.